Good morning, students. It is class 11. It is the fourth chapter from a snapshot, Albert Einstein at school. So here in this third video, you will know about his career as well as the lesson that I told you. What was the matter that he wanted to have a breakdown, and that should be confirmed by a doctor so that he could not go to school as it would become a problem, or rather his father would not know all about this incident, that what did happen in the school with the history teacher. So you will learn the things and who helped him in this regard, and how he was the worst liar in the world, that you will know. Here, Einstein came to meet that very Dr. Will, who he said he did not really know how to describe his trouble. Dr. Well said that he need not to try, because he had already known about his history that Yuri told him, and so he told him only that he wanted him to think he had had a nervous breakdown and say that he must not go to school. Albert's face just shone brightly. He should not have told him that. Why not? It was not true then. That was the trouble. Now he would say there was nothing wrong with him, and so he would tell him to go back to school. He said, don't be too sure of that. As a matter of fact, he was pretty sure he was in a nervous state about that school, but he had not told him anything about it. Albert said, wide-eyed, surprised, how can he do that? Because he would not have come to see him about this if he had not been pretty close to a nervous breakdown. That is why, said the doctor briskly. Means he had not suffered from that very thing, nervous breakdown, but he was very close to that and must stay away from school for a while so that he would feel better. He would go to Italy, Albert admitted, to Milan, where his parents were, and what he would do there, he would try to get into an Italian college or institute. How he could do something without a diploma, he would ask his mathematics teacher to give him something about work, and perhaps that would be enough. He had learnt all the maths they taught him at school, and a bit more he had done. He had admits his mathematics teacher was in favor of him because he was bright in mathematics. So, well, it is up to him. He doubted if it would come off, but he could see he was not doing himself or anyone else much good by staying there. How long he would like him to stay, he should stay away from school. He wanted at least 6 months. Would 6 months be all right? This is very kind of you, he thanked the doctor. Well, it's nothing. He had only just stopped being a student himself. He knew how he felt. Here it was. Dr. Well handed him the certificate. And the best of luck. How much? How much? Nothing, doctor replied. If he had anything to spare, invite Yuri to a meal. He is a good friend of his, and his too, he thought. Albert had no money to spare. He was not having so much money. But he pretended he had and took Yuri out to supper. He was very much surprised. It was not wonderful, he said after showing Yuri the certificate. Yes, it was fine. Yuri agreed 6 months is a good period, and this way he would not actually be leaving the school. So, if the worst comes to the worst, he would be able to come back and carry on for his diploma. That he told. And it was the idea that he gave him. He would never go back to that very place, Albert assured him. He was going to take that certificate to the head teacher the next day, and that would be the end of that episode from where he had started. Don't forget to get a reference in writing from his mathematics teacher first, Yuri reminded him, because mathematics teacher loved him for his genius work in maths. Mr. Coach. Who was he? Maths teacher. Willingly gave Albert the reference he wanted. If he said he could not teach him anymore, and probably he would soon be able to teach him, would that be all right, he asked. That is saying too much, sir. Yes, even that Mr. Coach also helped him, saying that he was so brilliant that he does something more than the required, and he had done everything and he was not able to teach him anymore. It was the truth. It was the reality. But all right, he would put it more seriously. And it was still a glowing reference. And Mr. Coach made the point that Albert was ready immediately to enter a college or institute for the study of higher mathematics. What a wonderful teacher he was, who genuinely accepted his weaknesses and the things that he could not do because he was just trying to teach the syllabus, not to the higher things. He was sorry he was leaving them. Although he was wasting his time in his school, he said, means he had understood the talent of this young child. It was almost only class where he was not wasting any time. But how he had known that he was leaving? He would not have asked him for this reference, otherwise he thought he would too wonder. There was nothing to wonder about. Einstein, he knew he was going to leave before he had known himself. Albert was puzzled. What did the teacher mean? I knew you were going to leave before you knew yourself. Means he could not understand himself. He could not know himself very much. But the teacher has realized that this was a genius child who could do something more. Well, it saved him the trouble of having to wait an hour or two outside, he thought. And what did he do? He hardly bothered to wonder why he had been sent for, but vaguely, unclearly, supposed he was to be punished again for bad work and laziness. He did not want to just suffer from any kind of embarrassment. That's why he went away from the school. He was not going to punish you, the head teacher said. To Albert's surprise, your work is terrible, and I am not prepared to have you here any longer. Einstein, I want you to leave the school now, he said. Leave school now, repeated Albert, just fixed. That is what I said. You mean, said Albert, that I am to be expelled. I am to be expelled for something. He wanted that he should get something, that he had done some nuisance and he had been expelled. But how it could happen? Really, it was a big trouble. That was not supposed to be done. What is his legacy that I would like to tell you here? While traveling, Einstein had written daily to his wife Elsa and adopted stepdaughters Margot and Elsie, and the letters were included in the papers bequeathed to the Hebrew University. Margot Einstein permitted the personal letters to be made available to the public, but requested it not to be done until 20 years after his death. She died in 1986. Barbara Old of the Hebrew University's Albert Einstein Archives told the BBC that there are about 3,500 pages of private correspondence written between 1921 and 1955, and it was commissioned by the United Nations Scientific Academy of Science, and it was just a mental work, bronze and marble sculpture by Robert Briggs, outdated in 1979 at its Washington, D.C. campus adjacent to the National Hall. So here it is all. I will tell you something more in the fourth video that you will understand much better the lesson. So here I have given you some extra information related to it. Thank you children. Thank you.